Later, let's talk about Elon Musk and Twitter. The Twitter accounts of several journalists who have been covering Elon Musk are suspended this morning. Hours after the accounts went offline, Musk claimed in a tweet the journalists had been involved in doxing his location and placed his family in danger. Musk later tweeted the suspensions would last for 7 days. In other tweets, he claimed the journalists posted his exact real-time location, which he called assassination coordinates,
good
and a
Lord.
violation of Twitter's terms of services. NBC News was unable to verify the allegation that his real-time location was in fact posted online. It's the same justification he used on Wednesday for suspending the account that used publicly available information to post the movements of Musk's private jet. All of this goes against the promise Musk made to run the site as a free speech absolutist, which has led to the reinstatement of hundreds of accounts associated with QAnon and other far-right groups. Many of those accounts promote conspiracy theories and hate speech. So, Joe, these are accounts he claims doxed him. This, again, the flight stuff is publicly available, but he shut down the accounts for at least a week here.
Yeah, and these people weren't doxing him. There were some people that had large followings on Twitter who would write a negative column about him on Mashable, and then they'd get suspended, or would tweet something negative about him and then get their account suspended. Caddy K, again, it's crazy, isn't it, that Donald Trump, Elon Musk, both seem to be losing it at the same time. And the bitter irony for those people who shamed themselves and said, we're going to look through the Twitter files and we're going to find examples of when content was suppressed. And they spent, weekend pouring through all of these documents. Well, there was this one time when they didn't amplify this or they didn't amplify. Oh, this is such a terrible First Amendment. Of course, it's not a First Amendment violation. Even suspending these accounts, if they suspend my account, it's not a First Amendment violation. It's called free enterprise. They can do with it what they want to do with their company. But all of these people on the Trump right, on the far right, that have been talking about how horrible Twitter was and how it violated free speech, they come out and they beat their chests in moral indignation right before the owner of Twitter just unilaterally decides he's going to ban people who are saying things about him that may be critical.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether being told that you're the richest man in the world day in, day out somehow warps your sense of your own invincibility. But the reality of his business decisions is coming back to bite Elon Musk. This is certainly hurting him at Tesla. It's hurting him at Twitter, too. He's not managing to make money. He's losing money from the site. Advertisers clearly don't like what they're seeing on the site. It has to be just a question of time before, whether it's Mastodon or some other site that actually operates in a more grown-up, responsible way, takes over all of the Twitter users. I mean, we will go there. Twitter is still, I find it, I don't know about you, I'm still on it. I still find it a useful tool for finding the data. It's the most efficient way for me to catch up on the headlines. As soon as there is another platform that is just as efficient, I imagine you'll have a mass migration to that platform, and it's a question of the technology catching up with it. Because a platform where day after day it becomes about, and this is the parallel between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. They're super wealthy billionaire business people who are used to things being about them and are used to people saying that they are wonderful and perfect and that everything they touch turns to gold, until it doesn't, until they actually realize the limitations of their abilities and their expertise. And he is not a media platform owner. He's never done this. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's grinding Twitter into the ground.
Well, and Jonathan Lemire, he's been told how brilliant he is for the past 10, 15 years. We had renowned guests on here. And I would say, wait a second. Elon shouldn't jump into Twitter. Does he not realize how difficult this is? Are there no lawyers around him trying to get him to stop this? Are there no... And it was like, Elon does what Elon wants to do. Elon's, but I said, but doesn't he realize what a mess this is and how it's going to distract? Elon, and again, these are supposed to be some of the most vaunted reporters in Silicon Valley. Their answer to everything was, it's Elon. Elon can do whatever Elon wants to do. Elon's great. We love Elon. Elon's one. This is what the toughest Silicon Valley reporters were saying about Elon Musk, right? And so it's no wonder Elon Musk finds himself where he is right now because everybody's told him he was great. And by the way, when Caddy said being called the richest man in the world might actually impact your worldview, day after day after day, Alex Corson said in my ear, he said, I'm willing to take that experiment on. So if Elon wants to give Alex Corson all of his money, we'll see how it goes.
I think Alex would be a great steward of that money.
He's been fed not just by sycophants inside his companies, like telling him how great he is. He is fed by sycophants in mainstream media.
Yes. I think, first of all, let's all be grateful that Walter Isaacson is going to write a fantastic book about Elon Musk underway right now. But you're right. He has certainly achieved remarkable things with Tesla and with the space program. But this is off the rails. And someone said recently, and it's apropos, that you could take almost any headline right now that has Musk's name in it and swap out Musk for Trump, and it would still feel apropos. The chaos, the ego, the insults, and the fact that he is bringing down an institution. And the Twitter is not the Republican Party, but it certainly feels like we're in the dying days of this platform unless something changes quickly. And that's what this is. And that's a shame. To Caddy's point, I use it too. It is a great way to catch up on the headlines. It's a great way to talk about things that you're working on. But it feels corrupt and toxic. The number of the hate speech has dramatically risen in recent days. And yesterday, Steve Herman, one of the reporters who's been suspended from Voice of America, all he did, his offense, was simply tweet the link to the publicly available website where you can track planes. He doesn't even write about Musk. But simply tweeting that link was enough to get him suspended off Twitter for at least a week. And as much as we all have sort of treated this platform as like the town square, the public forum, it's not anymore. It's Elon Musk's, and he's going to do with it what he wants, and it's bad for the rest of us.
Well, you know, I'm with Caddy. I still go on it. It's the most efficient way to get news, and I still love. I can go on anytime, 5-10 minutes, can fly through there, get updated on what's going on. But Willie, if it goes away tomorrow, it goes away tomorrow. I'll just find different ways to get news. That's the thing. If we have to walk away from it, we walk away from it. I hope it stays. I hope he can fix it. I hope maybe he can sell it. But, you know, life will go on without Twitter.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm there too. It's a great news feed. You follow reporters, you follow news organizations, you follow politicians, and it's a way to have a sort of a streamlined news feed. But we'll find another way if it goes away. It is such a mess right now. It's hard to even sometimes get to that news that you're looking for. They're showing you replies from people you don't know. It's hard to wade through all that. We've been asking. I guess we'll just keep asking smart people what he's up to here, why he's doing this, why this genius, this guy, Thomas Edison, as some people have said of our time. Why is he doing this? Thomas Edison wasn't working on the incandescent light bulb and then running into the town square going, prosecute Fauci. He was inventing things. Elon Musk should just invent things.